Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ira Hussein and I am your teenage teacher. So in today's video, I'm going to be going back to my roots and I am giving you some practice questions, but not on the MAP. This time it's on the SATs. Now I know, even the word SAT sounds scary, but everyone needs to start prepping, and it's best to start prepping early so that you're extra ready before any of your other classmates. And hey, maybe you'll get into a really good college, or maybe you'll get some pretty good recommendations because of your amazingly high score. And not just that, it's also really nice to know that you actually focused in school and got a good score on the SATs. But in order to do all that, you have to practice and you have to study. And this video right here is to help you out. Now let's get right into this video where I'm going to show you 11 practice questions on the math side of the SAT, and each question gets progressively harder. Let's get right into it. Wait! Before I start this video, I just want to make sure that you know everything you need to know. So, I was going to keep this secret from you guys, but I guess I'll let you know. If you click the link in the description, it actually sends you to Test Prep Online, where they actually give out SAT practice tests. I know, and hey, you might think that the website looks familiar. That's because it does. I leave in the link of all of my other videos because that's the link to the MAP tests as well. Both of these tests are really helpful. The MAP is kind of like a state test. It sees where you are in your level of subjects, and that can actually help you with the SATs, and the SAT prep tests that they give out can help you with the SATs. So make sure you check the link in the description down below and click on my other videos and check them out, see what the MAP is, and give a feel on it. Let's get right into this video. Okay, question number 1 is a multiple choice and it's a linear equation. So we want to solve for x. 3 times x minus 4 plus 2x is equal to 16. Take a minute to pause the video and figure out your answer. Okay, if you got 28 over 5, you are correct. Now let's slow it down and break it down and see how we got to this answer. Okay, step number 1 is to distribute the 3. See that we have a 3 and then parentheses. We want to make sure we get rid of that 3 because the 3 is just confusing things. So in order to do that, we distribute it. So 3x, 3 times x, and then 3 times negative 4, and then we get 3x minus 12. That's distributing. You probably learned this in middle school, and if you don't remember this, then I recommend, working on this problem because this is like common knowledge. Then we combine like terms. This is really easy. This is like order of operations, like trying to figure out your x. This is algebraic problems. This should all be pretty straightforward. Then you add 12 to both sides. That's inverse operations. And then you divide by 5, inverse operations again, and then you get your answer. If you found this explanation going too fast or too slow, you can always pause the video or put the video in 2 times speed right over there. Alright, question number 2 is a multiple choice system of equations. Now, when I say multiple choice, I mean that there's going to be a lot of options on the SAT, but I'm not giving them to you right now because it's, better to practice solving it than actually, like guessing with the answers that they give you. So take this practice to kind of multiple choice, not multiple choice this. Okay, solve the system. X plus y is equal to 10, x minus y is equal to 4. Take a minute to pause the video and figure out your answer. Okay, if you got 7, 3, then you are correct. Let's slow it down. Okay, first you want to add the 2 equations together. Then you want to cancel out the y's. So they kind of explain this in a different way, but what I would do is that I would just do elimination. That's probably what you guys learned in middle school or maybe in high school. So for elimination, you just have to make sure that you change the values so that they're opposite to each other. But if you change the values in one equation, you have to change it in the next equation the same way with all the values in each equation. Okay, then you're gonna divide by 2, which is inverse operations again, and then you plug 7 into x plus y, because now that you have a term, you have to substitute it into the equation. That's how you're gonna solve. Substituting is the main thing after you've done all the steps, and then you get 7, 3. Okay, question number 3, grid in quadratic. So usually in a lot of quadratic equations that you might get on the SATs, or anything that has to do with quadratics, you might get a grid, but in this case they do not give it to you, what they did in the website that I used. But just look out for grids, because there might usually be grids with a lot of the equations that you get. Okay, what is the value of x? X squared minus 9 is equal to 0. Take a minute to pause the video and figure out your answer. Okay, 3 and negative 3 are the two solutions that you get from this equation. But how do we get there? First, you're gonna add 9 to both sides, and then you're going to square root it. Because the opposite of a squared is a square root, and we always have to get rid of the square root so that we can isolate the x to as much as we can. We just want to make sure that it's all alone and it doesn't have any values next to it. So make sure that you remember that in quadratics, you can get 2 answers. I know that it might seem a little bit crazy, like, hey, I'm getting 2 answers here, but it is normal. But just make sure that if it's a real life problem, maybe with you're trying to find triangle sides, or you're trying to find something that's a real life problem, and you get a negative answer like the negative 3, you can't have a side length with negative length. So make sure that you tie it into your common sense and real life scenarios, because a lot of people get stuck. Okay, question number 4, multiple choice with percents. A jacket originally cost $80 and is discounted by 25%. What is the new price? Take a minute to pause the video and figure out your answer. Okay, here's a step-by-step explanation to get your answer of 60. First, you have to find 25% of 80. Now, there's a bunch of ways of doing this, but the way that I do it is I turn the 25 into 0.25. That's how you turn the percent into a decimal. Then I multiply that by 80, which gives me 20. So 25% of 80 is 20. Now we have to subtract the discount from the original price. So 80 minus 20 is 60. Now, a lot of people get really confused at this part, so I'm gonna explain it to you guys. So the jacket originally costs 80, and it's discounted by 25. Discount means it drops the price by 25%. So if you want to figure out, it's basically telling you that it's 25% of 80 is discounted, taken out of the original price of 80. So 25% of 80 is 20, and that's taken from the original price of 80. So 80 minus 20 gives us 60. It's a little bit confusing, but when you keep doing problems like this, you start to get the hang of it. Okay, question number 5. No calculator and linear equalities. Solve for x. 4x minus 7 is less than or equal to 13. Take a minute to pause the video and figure out your answer. Okay, the answer is x is less than or equal to 5. Now here's how we got there. First, you're gonna add 7 to both sides, inverse operations. Then you're gonna divide both sides by 4, inverse operations again. If you're always solving for x or another value that is unknown, inverse operations is basically the way to go. That's what you're gonna have to do. If you wanna isolate your x or your y or any variable, you have to use inverse operations. Okay, question number 6. No calculator with exponents. Okay, we're gonna simplify. 2 to the 3rd power times 2 to the 4th power. Take a minute to pause the video and figure out your answer. If you got 128, then you are correct. Now, a lot of people mess this up when they see the square root of 3 and if they see to the power of 3 and to the power of 4, they mix it up when it's a multiplication symbol and they multiply the 3 and the 4. But that is wrong. You do not want to get 12 as your exponent on top of the 2. Here's how you go by doing it. Since the denominators, like the base of the whole, 2 to the 3rd power, it's like the base, 2 is the base. Since they're both the same in these different values, the 2 doesn't change. It doesn't turn into a 4. It doesn't turn into a 4. That's the only thing it can turn into. It stays a 2. The 3 and the 4, they add. That is the rule. They add when it's a multiplication. So you're gonna get 2 to the 7th power, which is 128. If they ask you to simplify it fully, then you have to give them 128 because you'll get points off if you just give 2 to the 7th power. Okay, question number 7. A car travels 180 miles in 3 hours at a consistent speed. How many miles will it travel at 5 hours at the same speed? Take a minute to pause the video and figure out your answer. Okay, this is how we got the answer of 300. First, you have to find the speed. 180 divided by 3 is equal to 60 miles per hour. Then you multiply it by 5, the hours, and then you get 300. Pretty straightforward. Okay, question number 8. No calculator, and this one is geometry. The sum of the interior angles of a triangle is 180. Two angles measure 35 and 65. What is the measure of the third angle? Take a minute to pause the video and figure out your answer. If you got 80, you are correct. First, you add the known angles, 35 and 65, which is 100. Then you subtract that from the total number of angles, which is 180, and you get 80 as your final answer. Okay, question number 9. Calculator and quadratic factoring. Solve for x. X squared minus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. Take a minute to pause the video and figure out your answer. If you got 2 and 3, you're correct. Remember, it's a quadratic, so you're going to get 2 answers. You factor the quadratic, x minus 2 times x minus 3 is equal to 0. Then you set each factor equal to 0. X is equal to 2 or x is equal to 3, and then you get your answer. These are all things that you should remember how to do because they are all formulas and things that are pretty important and are going to show up a lot on the SATs. So if you don't remember any of this stuff, I recommend that you go back and study and memorize this stuff a little bit more. Okay, question number 10. Grid in ratios. The ratio of girls to boys in a class is 3 to 5. If there are 40 students in total, how many are girls? Take a minute to pause the video and figure out your answer. The answer is 15. Okay, let's break this down. Total parts in the ratio are 3 plus 5. Oh, you have to total the parts in the ratio. So 3 plus 5 is equal to 8. And then each part represents, the certain number of people. So you do 40 divided by 8, and that's equal to 5. And then you multiply 3 and 5, and then you get 15. It's kind of like finding the unit number, but not really. Don't think of it that way, but it's like close, like relatives. Okay, here is our last question. This one is the toughest one that I put on here. Question 11, hard algebra, no calculator. Solve for x. 2 over x plus 1 plus 3 over x minus 1 is equal to 1. Take a minute to pause the video and figure out your answer. Okay, here we go. I'm not going to give you the answer just yet. We're going to go through the steps first. First, you find a common denominator, x plus 1 times x minus 1. Then you combine the fractions, and it turns into number 2. I'm not going to say it out because it's a tongue twister. Then you simplify the numerator, and then you multiply both sides by x plus 1 and x minus 1. Remember, inverse operations. To undo something, you do the opposite. Now, you're going to move all your terms to one side so that you can isolate the 0, Because, okay, here's the thing. Here's a little pro tip. While you're solving an equation, and if it starts to look like a quadratic, make sure you solve it as a quadratic because it's going to save your life. It's going to make it so much easier. So there's a couple ways you could do this. In this case, I used the quadratic formula, but you could factor as well. If you factored 2 and if you factored factors of 2 to equal to 5. Though I would recommend using the quadratic formula. And then your answer is a little bit messy. And I know you get a little bit skeptical of your answer when it's messy, but you have to trust the process. The answer is 5 plus square root of 33 over 2 and 5 minus square root of 33 over 2. Alright guys, that is the end of my video, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know you guys won't enjoy math, but I hope you guys found this useful and helpful. And please remember what I said about clicking the link in the description because it'll take you to Test Prep Online and it will show you SAT practice tests that I've given you the link for. And if you want to check out my other videos, I have links to the MAP, which have helped me, see my areas where I'm not as good in and I'm very good in, so I know what I have to work on and what I don't have to work on. And if you want more videos like this, definitely reach out to me. My email is in my description on my channel. And comment down below if you have any questions. And thank you so much for watching. Bye guys!